What would Dialga and Palkia look like if they were redesigned to fit in the Monster Hunter series? Well, let me show you. So I'm starting off with Dialga's redesign here. I actually worked on this concept live on the channel a few days back, so if you want to see the process in real time, go ahead and click that link down below in the description box. As you can see, I used a couple existing creatures from the Monster Hunter franchise as references, Laranoth and Aptonoth to be specific. I already knew I wanted to go with a more sauropod based design just because there really aren't many of them in Monster Hunter and that archetype just fit well with Dialga's body shape. And I always like coming up with monster classes that aren't as prevalent among the roster. If you watched through all my other videos in this series, then you would probably already heard me said that numerous times. But anyways, for Dialga here, one of my biggest concerns was trying to figure out how I could incorporate that diamond implanted in its chest and the whole ruler of time thing, since Monster Hunter is far more grounded in reality with their creature designs than Pokemon is. So I kind of thought of this concept where that diamond is actually a horn on its chest that functions similarly to Alatreon's horns, where it basically is its power source. In Alatreon's case, it gives it the ability to cycle through various elements, but here with Dialga, my idea is that it has the power to basically terraform its environment by spawning these massive crystal spires, similar to what you would see in Elder's Recess in Monster Hunter World. And the horn on its chest is like a conduit that transfers this sort of electromagnetic energy through these crystals, which would manipulate the physics of the surrounding area. So instead of actually controlling time, what happens is the hunters will be affected by this shift during phases of the fight, and sometimes if they're caught up in these energy waves, it will slow their movements down, and other times it could even speed them up. So it's not time travel or time control, but rather a slow motion and fast forward kind of concept. Plus, I think that would be such a fun style of fight to have in the game. It would literally change up the pace of combat in game, so I think it would really stand out from others and be a really memorable fight. Besides figuring out that part of the design, the rest of it was pretty straightforward for me. Just make a badass looking dinosaur with armored plating and spikes, and turn Dialga's back fin thing into a sail similar to what you might see on a Spinosaurus. I've done so many of these Monster Hunter redesigns now that it is getting easier and easier for me to flesh out these creatures. And by the way, if you want to see all of the redesigns I've done so far, go to the description box down below and I will have the entire playlist linked there for you. This series has been a major catalyst in helping launch my channel to new heights, and I'm appreciative to all of you who have subscribed and become a part of the community I'm trying to create here. And also I want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Michael Crutcher, who requested this Dialga redesign with his $10 super thanks donation to the channel. As you can see here, I had to go back and adjust the claws on the feet to look a little more like Dialga's design, and then get back into finishing the coloring process. Which, by the way, if you ever want to see exactly how I go about that, I posted a video guide of my digital coloring process just recently that you can check out after this. I stick to the basics really and don't use too many different layers. I put down the base colors, then do a couple layers for shading and a couple for the highlights, and that's just about it really. I also went ahead and added a little bit of extra coloration there to the horns and spikes just to give the design some more complexity. Pokemon designs, after all, stick to mainly just a few colors only in their designs, and it would look less believable in the world of Monster Hunter if I limited myself to just that. And if you haven't already, while you're here, go ahead and hit that like button below, and let me know what you think of my redesign here. Is this a monster you could picture yourself hunting down in-game and farming for materials? Sound off in the comments below. And now I'm just adding in the final touches to the design before I finish off the background template with some good old flavor text and attributes. Also, I know a lot of you have been asking if I will ever design weapons for all these different monsters, and I am definitely considering doing that. I'm just not sure if I should make a separate video series based on just doing the weapons or not, since I've already posted so many different videos on just the monster designs alone. And here we have the completed piece for Dialga, the Diamond Deity. Monster class, Elder Dragon, Element, Dragon, Ailments, Dragon Blight, and weakness, you guessed it, Dragon. And for the flavor text, an ancient dragon that was revered by the earliest Wyverian tribes. The crystal-like horn on its chest is able to generate immense power that it uses to terraform its environment, spawning massive crystal spires. And that's going to be it for this one, folks, so let's go ahead and move on to the next redesign in this episode, Palkia. And here you can see me starting with the initial sketch for one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Full disclosure, I always preferred this dude over Dialga. I just love its design so much. When coming up with the redesign here, I had to figure out what sort of route I wanted to go with, since there really isn't a bipedal dragon with wings in Monster Hunter. Yes, I know Fatalis can stand up on its hind legs, but it primarily walks on all fours. So I decided not to give it wings, but rather these sail-like fins that I basically stole from Anjanath. Since Palkia is a water type, I thought it would work out well if it had these sails instead, that it can flare out in this way and retract back to a more streamlined look when needing to maneuver through water. I also decided to base its head crest off of a dinosaur called the Acrocanthosaurus, whose name means high-spine lizard, and just carry that all the way down its back, as you can see here. I really like the way that turned out. Also, I had to sit and really think about how I want to go about the pearls embedded into Palkia's shoulders. Just like Dialga, I had to figure out a way to ground this design into something more realistic. So my idea for that was actually turn the pearls into something like a set of false eyes that you see certain creatures like butterflies have in order to deter predators. And while that's all fine and dandy, how does Palkia control space, you might be thinking to yourself? Well, sorry to let you down, it doesn't. Instead, I had the idea that Palkia has this lustrous skin that absorbs and reflects the lighting off of it in a barrage of this trippy color spectrum that basically causes epilepsy to those who gaze upon it, disorientating them for a short time. And I also happen to be live streaming part of this drawing, which I will also link below, and some of the people in chat let me know that confusion was a status effect in previous Monster Hunter games that basically inverted the player's controls, and this would work pretty well with the idea of Palkia being able to shift and control space. So the way this would work in the fight would be that once Palkia becomes enraged, it would flare out those sails and then begin to sort of channel this strobe of colors that would course through those purple strikes in a direction towards those false eyes on its shoulders. This would be such a great spectacle of a fight. It would also be hilarious if its theme song incorporated some sort of rave style music into it, just to really bring the whole thing together in one hell of a fun encounter. I honestly really wish I knew how to do like 3D modeling and animation, just so I could kind of bring this idea into fruition, because the more I think about it, the more I love the idea, and I would just love to see it realized. Let me know in the comments down below what you all think of this concept, and if it would be an encounter that you would really like to experience as well. But other than that, I don't have much more else to say about this design here, so I'm just going to let the rest of the time-lapse drawing play out, and then I will be back at the end of the piece to wrap up the rest of the video. See you in a few. And here we have the completed piece for Palkia, the pearlescent deity. Monster class, Elder Dragon. Element, Dragon and Water. Ailments, Confusion, like I talked about earlier. And weakness is Dragon. And for the flavor text, this Elder Dragon's lustrous skin is so revered that hunters will travel from far off lands just for a chance to glimpse upon its beauty. When enraged, it will reflect a blinding flash of colors from its stripes and false eyes, disorientating its foes. So that's going to be it for today's What If video. Do me a solid, if you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you like the work I'm doing and want to see more. And for those of you who want to contribute a little extra to the channel, any super thanks donation of $10 or more and I will let you pick a Pokemon for me to redesign and post in the next video along with a shout out. And also, if you ever want to own some stuff with my art designs, go ahead and check out the link to my Redbubble shop down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.